organization, I thought first thing probably important to just introduce myself and Halo as an organization. So Halo is an ITSM software development company. We develop HaloITSM, our IT service management tool. As an organization, we've been around since 1994, so seen a lot of change in education, but right across the sort of digital arena. The platform itself is focused on IT out of the box, but it can be used as an ESM tool as well, which we'll probably cover a bit of today. My background, originally I was on the service desk here, so I've seen a lot of change with service and the way things work over the last 10 years of working in this industry. In terms of sort of what I wanted to talk to you about today, I wanted to discuss the traditional approaches, how they're no longer effective. So when we talk about traditional approaches, we're talking about emails, phone calls, how you're managing that perhaps on Excel spreadsheets, maybe a simple ticketing system. And what we want to discuss is that need for a centralized system, not necessarily just for IT, but potentially other departments, HR and facilities, real digital transformation right across the educational organizations. We've seen over the last 18 months a very, very large shift towards things like remote working, the use of platforms like Teams, Teams becoming very central to a lot of organizations, but also a move towards, I guess, IT and other areas of the organization as a service. So people having a single place to go and request whatever it may be, and that routing through to the relevant team. We've also seen big demand on budgets as more and more education budget has been pushed into sort of that remote learning. We want to talk about things like automation, so the ability to potentially sort of speed up processes, but also to remove the human element. So when you have things like approval processes, or even things like password resets, how we can do all of that digitally and make that a self-service option. Key thing with Halo, we want to see this as a future-proof solution. So something that is constantly evolving and adapting. Just jumping to the next slide there. For us, we've identified key features that we think are important for any education organization. So we think that to move forward and transform digitally, the focus needs to be on the self-service portal, but also mobile accessibility, not only for your end users, but also from a faculty staff perspective. So the ability to access this type of software, most softwares, on any device, any browser, as people work from home, from mobile phones, whatever device they're utilizing. The key aspect that we want to push forward with Halo is self-service. As you can see on this sort of screenshot here, we've got the ability for the end users to go in, raise requests, potentially get in touch to sort of raise a new incident. But what we're trying to do with Halo is also building that automation side of things. So we're integrated into PowerShell script. So if an end user comes to this portal, perhaps there's a new starter, a new member of staff, instead of you going through that manual process of adding them into Azure Active Directory, we're centralizing that. We're building that directly into the platform to speed up that process and keep things moving forward. With our platform as well, you've also got access to things like the knowledge base. So again, self-service, we're centralizing that. We've got artificial intelligence in there, suggesting those articles as we go through the process, and end users trying to access support via the portal. Instead of it raising a ticket in the traditional way, we're routing them through to self-service articles where they can go and hopefully help themselves, vote on whether the article was helpful or not, and that then leads us through to sort of top 10 articles, frequently asked questions, with full sort of audit trails in the background, so we're constantly learning and improving our service. Whilst we talk about ITSM, there's much more scope than that within education to transform digitally. Halo, as a platform out of the box, is designed to enable you to build much more of an enterprise service management solution. So in our example here, we're talking about IT, HR, facilities, and depending on who's logging into the portal, you can make different areas available to them. The idea is that what we're trying to do is to build out functionality that will transform current sort of manual processes into electronic digital processes within one centralized portal for your users. The whole platform is designed to be single sign-on, so there's no barriers to use it. It's fully in line with accessibility standards, so there's no hurdles to overcome there. An example here would be perhaps on the facilities side, as we have. So they could get in touch, perhaps report broken doors, fire alarm issues. But there's also things like resource booking. So if you need to book a meeting room, you need to perhaps book a minibus. All of these processes and approvals and step-by-steps can be built in and captured within one platform. The idea behind it is that facilities could potentially in the background as well have scheduled maintenance tasks. They could have planned maintenance jobs built into a system. And then you've got visibility and reporting, metrics, KPIs, all within the one tool. The workflows within Halo allow you to go across teams as well. So by moving from just an ITSM into that ESM model, if you have a new starter request, subtasks could be going off to perhaps facilities, maybe they need desks, maybe they need car parking spaces, could go over to HR to add them to payroll. But one request from one user creates that entire workflow, that digital transformation of what potentially is lots of emails flying around, maybe even sort of paper-based systems, as we found in some organizations. I think probably it's worth us mentioning a few of the organizations that we do already work with and have gone through this process with. So University of Cambridge, we work with Homerton College, the group there, utilising it in IT. More often than not, we do start in IT as an ITSM tool, but that is now utilised in maintenance, as I was describing, potentially utilising the scheduled maintenance elements, warranties, all sorts of different aspects that they're making use of. The key with Halo is that it's out of the box. So what we're discussing, what we're talking about, isn't something that you have to rebuild. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's best practice. There's our experience over 25 years of doing this with other organizations, and built that into our out-of-the-box platform. We've also got organizations utilizing the system such as York University over in the States, Anglian Ruskin University, Middlesbrough College, another organization who've just recently embedded Halo in IT, but also in their maintenance and buildings maintenance teams, over 100 agents utilizing the platform there. As a system, we are always evolving, so as new tools come into place, other integrations are required. What we've tried to do is take a really proactive approach in terms of integrations. One of the key themes with Halo is that it's about centralizing as many processes as possible, giving you a single pane of glass. So instead of seeing dozens of different tools in lots of different departments that IT then have to manage, have to learn about, support and maintain, you can plug all of these platforms directly into the Halo platform. If you're utilizing things like remote support tools, you're utilizing platforms like Teams, we integrate. With Teams, you've got notifications, you've got booking of meetings. If you've got sessions like today, you could book that through Halo. And that would not only go into the Halo platform, but it also goes into your individual Outlook calendars. So it's all about that centralization. At the end of that process, in the background, Halo is essentially a SQL database. So anything that's captured, you can then report on it. There's proper sort of closed loop feedback built into the tool. So you can get customer surveys built into it. How are the users finding those knowledge base articles? Are they valuable? What's our support like? Where are the bottlenecks if someone requests a new starter? And it's really about identifying areas where you can continually improve the services that you're providing. Out of the box, again, I'll keep saying out of the box, there are dashboards, there are reports, there are metrics, but you can also plug this into third-party tools, things like Power BI and other central reporting systems. Halo, with its out-of-the-box metrics, should enable you to identify trends. We're aligned with the Service Desk Institute's best practice, the reports that are recommended. We do supply a list of those sort of pre-built reports to help you identify potential areas for improvement. In terms of sort of what else we wanted to talk to you about today, I think we've covered sort of the key areas of what we're trying to do as an organization. I'm hoping that you found sort of this an interesting high-level introduction to our product. I've tried to keep it relatively short, so if there are any questions, if there's anything that people want to discuss today, I'm more than happy to run through those questions now. But I'll say thank you all very much for your time and giving us the space in today's session to talk to you about digital transformation in higher education, and also about the Halo platform and what we hope to bring to organisations like yourselves.
Hi, Tom.
Hi there, Tessa. Sorry, I couldn't see who that was
Thank
talking.
you very much for showing that presentation. That was really interesting, because what was great was that obviously Mark earlier from Glasgow Uni was talking about ESM and culture across Glasgow University. So what was good really, I suppose, was to have a little bit of insight into how the tool actually can support, and the technology can support that transition across to ESM. I suppose just a very quick question for me. Just from your experience, really, if an organisation was just about to start out on their kind of ESM journey, what one piece of advice would you give them based on the experiences of the customers you've worked with?
So our advice is really to involve all of the stakeholders very early on in the process. So whilst we normally end up sort of being utilised in IT to start with, that ESM journey is always a sort of the back of our mind. It's in our interest. It's definitely part of our business plan for organisations we work with. So we actively promote that sort of early engagement with all of the different departments across the organisation. It's also important when you're thinking about sort of workflows and that future-proofing of the platform. You don't want to sort of reinvent the system each time another department is plugged into it. So Halo is designed to do that very well out of the box, but having those conversations early on around sort of where approvals might sit, where tasks might sit with other teams, certainly definitely our advice is to try and capture that as early as possible. And that's something that